Good morning. So, you got me, before I've really gotten going today. Gotten going. And that's because I hurt my back. I pulled my back out doing too much. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Good morning. Good morning. I'm not out in the woods today. Good morning, Beth, Jamie. Go ahead and comment in your names if it's not clear and where you are coming in from. Good morning. Hi. Great to see everybody's beautiful names coming up on the screen. So I want to talk today about this whole notion of, if I don't do it, hey Pops, if I don't do it, who will? If I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And, a lot of times what I talk about in our lives is that there's no such thing as private good. I find that a lot of times people have this fear when we start talking about their visions and their dreams and what it is they would love to do for themselves, that part of the thing that stops them, yes, oh cool, from New York, from Walcott, Connecticut, nice. Where else are you guys coming in from? I find that one of the things that stops them is how it might affect the other people in their lives. And such a powerful move is to trust that if you're doing what it is that you love, good, I'm so glad, Beth. If you're doing what it is that you love, what really calls to your heart, to trust that that is the voice of divine insight coming in, communicating with you on what that powerful energy that puts you here would love for you to experience in your life, right? Like this divine source didn't put us on the planet and say, here's the ability to dream into all the things that you would love to have, but can't have them, right? That sounds so, counterintuitive to the God that I believe in, or the goddess, or the energy, or the universe. So a lot of times what you'll hear me say is that there's no such thing as private good, that, to really learn to trust that voice of divine insight as it's communicating through you, and to know that even if the people in your life push back or kick and scream, that it will also be best for them because it's what's best for you. And today I want to talk a little bit about the opposite of that. I'm going to tell you a little story. So right now, we're pretty understaffed at the store. We have gotten so many incredible resumes. Thank you to everybody who has been applying. I'm literally just going through them in order. So just to touch on that, I'm just so honored with how many people want to work for me. It's a true blessing. And we're really understaffed. So I'm working a lot more hours than I'm used to, which is fine. That's what I'm here for. This is my life. I love it. And so Wednesday, I worked my shift and I started to feel that my back hurt a little bit. And I was like, okay, just take it easy. Thursday came and we got this giant shipment in. And there was that part of me that was saying to myself, like, well, if you don't do it, who's going to? Like, if you don't do it, other people will suffer. If you don't get this done, the girls are going to have to figure out how to do it between customers and before hours and after hours. These were the stories that were going through my head. It's a very martyr story. So, Thursday, I'm at the shop, we're working, me and Angelina, we're killing it. She's doing such a great job. She is like this powerhouse of energy. If you've met her, she's just this beautiful ball of light. And we're closing up for the day and I'm looking at these boxes and I'm like, I gotta stay late. I gotta do this. She's like, don't worry about it. Like, we'll get to it. Don't worry about it. And all I hear in my voice is like, if I don't do it, who will? If I don't do it, somebody else is going to have to pick up the slack that I'm losing, like that I'm missing out on. Does this resonate? Like, do you hear this voice for yourself? Hey, Catherine. Yes. Let me know, like, what does it sound like for you? And what is the task that if you don't do is going to fall to the wayside, or somebody else is going to have to do it? Oh, thanks, Catherine. Thank you so much. That is so nice to hear. So I stayed a little bit late until I really hurt my back. And then I was like, oh God, I have to go now. So I left and I came home. And this brings me to, not only is there no such thing as private good, but there's no such thing as private suffering. So if you're sacrificing your well-being because you think that if you don't, someone else will suffer, I really want you to hear this. There is no such thing as private suffering. So here I was doing all this, extra work and putting my body at risk. And then I came home, I dropped all my stuff, I burst into tears. My poor husband, he wrapped his arms around me. He did a great job of supporting me. And I couldn't move yesterday. Like, I was immobile yesterday. I'm doing a little bit better today. But here's what happens as a result of me martyring myself. Justin has to do all of the things that I normally do. He has double the workload now because of what happened. And I can't be at the shop today to support my team because my back hurts. Now, I know that everything is going to be just fine. I know that everybody's going to get through this and that, the girls at the shop are incredible. They're going to be so great today. They're so awesome and so capable. And Justin will be fine. It's a little bit stressful for him right now. But what I really want you to hear, what I really want you to take home is when you start to hear that voice, if I don't do it, who will? I want you to be able to pause and really deeply listen. What is that actually saying? You're eliminating God, the goddess, the universe, from the equation when you do that. We are putting ourselves in the position of, I must know everything. I must be able to see all. And we can't. We can't see all. All we can see is what's right in front of us. All we can do is feel into what feels right for us. And so if I was able to stop in that moment, which I'm working towards, and ask myself, is this really for your highest good? Or do you need to rest? I would have heard, I need to rest. It's time to pause. I would have left the store. I probably still would have been in some pain yesterday, but I wouldn't have been immobile and, creating a ripple effect of the suffering that I imposed upon myself. So first step is to notice the thought. Second step is to thank it. This is not about putting yourself down for having thoughts that you put in place to survive, to support yourself. At one point, when I first opened Becca Rose, I worked by myself for 2 years straight, 363 days a year, other than closing for weather. I had to do it. Some part of me knew this was necessary and I had to do it this way in order to survive. And so I did. Now, the pattern that I instilled, it supported me at one point, and now I've evolved to a place where it does not support me anymore. And so the next step is to welcome that part of you home. The part of you that believes I have to sacrifice myself, that sacrificing myself saves other people. The part of you that believes there's no such thing as, or the part of you that doesn't understand there's no such thing as private sacrifice. So you welcome that part of you home lovingly, not judgmentally. I think this is the part where my mentor had said recently, I love this quote so much, to judge your past self for what your present self knows is a form of self-abuse. Really let that land. It's incredibly accurate and unhelpful. So it's about welcoming that part of you home and letting her know that she's safe to relax. She can just relax in your loving arms. She can know that she can trust you. Oh, look at all these. Sorry, I missed these comments. Beth, all the time, I always feel like everything is my responsibility and neglect to see I am not empowering my staff. Good noticing. Catherine, I think it's very common that we feel we should put everything on ourselves, but we need to understand our limits. Right. Absolutely. Yes, everybody is incredibly supportive. Thank you for saying that. The team is just wonderful. I messaged them and I was like, you guys, I'm really sorry. I can't move. And they were like, no problem. We've got this. Don't worry. And it was so nice. Okay. thank it, and then welcoming it home as opposed to releasing it. Like, I think a lot of times, especially in the spiritual community, there's a part of us that like wants to like release or like, release certain parts of ourselves. And I wonder if welcoming those parts home is maybe, I'm just going to say for me, it's a more loving thing, and it's more in alignment with keeping myself whole if I really welcome all aspects of myself. And so as opposed to being like, okay, I'm going to let her go, she's still a part of me. And my God, she got me through so much. So I'm not going to just let her go. I'm going to welcome her home and let her know she can rest and relax. And then you want to think about the thought that you are going to replace those beliefs with, right? Because you're going to be thinking something. You can't turn that functioning off in your brain. You're always going to be thinking and rehearsing something. So if you're noticing like the rehearsing thought is, if I don't do this, who will? What can you replace that with? For me, it's a checking in with myself and a real deep level of trust in my divine source, in my inner goddess, in my universal energy that put me here to love my life, not to suffer, right? And then you can think about an archetype of a being that embodies those beliefs. And I love to use the tarot. So I'm using the High Priestess. So here's the High Priestess in the Smith-Waite deck. Isn't she so beautiful? And you can see, and here she is in my the Everyday Witch Tarot deck, which I've been so loving so much lately. So you can see that she is this channel, right? Both of them are between two pillars, light and dark. It's really beautiful. I love comparing cards in different decks. Do you ever do that? I find it so fascinating. By the way, this is what we're up to in Becoming, which is our new monthly membership. We are diving into particular tarot cards, and we are embodying the archetypes of those cards so that we can become the woman that we desire to be, the woman. Okay, so here she is. She's just divinely inspired. She's listening deeply to her intuition. She's very discerning. So she's standing between those two pillars. One is light, one is dark. Sorry, cats. Able to land on her decision. She has that ability of discernment. She trusts, right? She's sitting there listening to her intuition. She has her familiar right next to her, which felines is a beautiful symbol for feelings. So she's present with her feelings. She's present with her divine insight, and she has this ability to trust what she hears from herself. So this is what I'm leaning into as I am transitioning from I have to sacrifice to knowing that my standing in what I know to be right for myself is also what's right for everyone around me. Does that make sense? There she is. This powerhouse of just incredible energy and insight. So I hope that that's helpful. This is what I've got for you today. If you liked this, you will absolutely love Becoming. Check it out. The link is in our profile. We're going to have a Q&A call. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post it in this video so that I can add them to the Q&A call and make sure that it's answered. Really briefly, what's involved is it's a monthly membership in our private app. If you're not in our app yet, you should check it out. There's a bunch of free classes in there. So it's brcoven.com. And every month we're going to dive into a different tarot card. That card will be divinely channeled by Morgan doing the illustration, and the interpretation is I am channeling the interpretation. There will be a meditation as well that is also channeled and recorded by myself. Well, I'm doing the speaking. My husband actually does the recording because he's way better at the tech stuff. That you will get each month prompts to support you in your deepening understanding of who it is you desire to become, how to aspire to become that person, and the different traits that you can embody each day of that month. In addition, we're going to have a women's circle every moon, every full moon. I'm not sure if it's the full moon or the new moon. I think it's the full moon that the beautiful Morgan will be leading. And also we will have recommended magical tools to support you in your becoming of each card, and a book and or journal that we will have a call on each month. You can still come to the call if you haven't read the book or seen the journal. It will still be incredibly beneficial, so don't worry about that. The community of women that are already signing up is just delicious. I think you will love these incredible beings who are just as committed to their internal growth and evolution as you are if you're looking at this program. It's $39.99 a month. You can cancel at any time if you start out and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me. You have, every opportunity to complete. And if you love it, which I really think that you will, you can stay as long as you like. We do have a promo for anyone who signs up for a full year. You get 2 months free. So the link is in our profile. If you have any questions that I did not address, please post them in this video and I will make sure to answer them in our Q&A. Okay, have a great day. Remember, there is no such thing as private sacrifice, just like there's no such thing as private good. So when you can choose, which you always can, and when you're aware of and noticing you're choosing, that's what I meant, choose good. Choose for the loving thing to do, which is what loves everybody and yourself, not just the people in your life. Blessed be.